Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video and welcome to our next F123 track guide. This time round we head here to the Land Down Under and Albert Park, Australia. Of course, a massively modified Albert Park circuit in the last couple of years has gone from being quite a technical and intricate little circuit now to being incredibly high speed and all about high-end downforce inside F123. To be honest, it's one of my favourite tracks on the game. When you get a lap hooked up around this place, it is really good fun. But today, of course, we're jumping in with our Hotlap setup and circuit guide. Obviously, been very busy with main channel videos over the last couple of weeks, so I do apologise to all of you that have been waiting for this next guide. But of course, if you're new around here, please do make sure you drop us a sub as well. Of course, on the channel, we're getting closer and closer to 10k at the moment, so I would really appreciate it if you could help me get one step closer to that. But anyway, of course, timestamps, as always, will be linked down in the description below, and let's get into this. Well, before we head out then onto the circuit, first a quick look at my setup then. A 117.3 leaves us inside the top 3,000 in the world. They're top 4% roughly where I seem to be aiming for inside this game. Of course, Albert Park now, an incredibly high-speed circuit. So yeah, you still do, though. Sorry, want to run quite a bit of aero, though. Obviously, a lot of high-speed corners around here. Top speed inside F123, as we know, is absolutely fantastic anyway, so you can afford to compromise theoretically some straight line speed there. So 30.27 on the wings. Of course, you know, you need that high-speed downforce. Turn 1, obviously turn 5, turn 7, turn 9 and 10. There are, yeah, a lot of very high-speed corners around this venue. So, yeah, 30.27 was where I found my sweet spot there. 57.53 on the differential. As always, you're running slightly more diff on throttle than off throttle there. But again, those were just the numbers that I found worked for me. I wouldn't move them around too much from here, but it might be worth trying a couple of percent either way on both of them to see what works for you. Suspension geometry running quite aggressive actually on the maximum camber there, -2.8 and -1.3 there, but the front and rear toe are still fairly low down there, 0.02 and 0.13. Suspension though, again, trying a couple of different things around here. Front suspension 27, rear suspension on 16, but you'll notice, yeah, the anti-roll bar is very soft in comparison to a lot of other tracks there, 6 and 5. What you find around Albert Park in comparison to a lot of other tracks is you're actually cornering and trying to get on the throttle on a lot of places. Again, turn 1 is a great example of that. Turn 7 is another great example of that. So you actually want the rear of the car squatting quite a lot, which obviously you'll get with softer suspension, which obviously increases the weight over the rear end, therefore gives you more grip on throttle there. 37.38 on the ride height. I would say potentially you might want to try slightly higher than that. This thing was still fairly loose over the curbs, but drivable nonetheless there. 98.56, again, that's a pretty standard brake bias that I seem to be running on this game. Pretty much always running 98 pressure, sometimes 56, sometimes 57, depending on how much sort of straight line braking there is around a track as well. And then 22.4 on the front tyre pressures, 20.8 on the rears there. So again, you know, like I said, every track seems to be a little bit different. I'm finding it good fun at the moment, learning all the unique setup tweaks that you need to make for each track, but everything seems quite logical, at least, which is always a good thing as well. You know, on some of the older F1 games, you'd make a setup change that theoretically should make no sense at all, and you'd find like half a second. So I'm happy for the most part that seems to be gone inside the modern Formula 1 games. But of course, yeah, before we jump in then with our hot lap, let's just take a moment to just slow it down and see what you want to be aiming for around this venue. So heading up then over the start-finish line, of course you'll be approaching 200 miles an hour on the run in towards turn 1. You want to be braking either, a lot of people I would suggest aim for that black box. I'm actually braking at the 100-meter board, ready for turn 1 there, of course. Turn 1 at Albert Park, we know just how high speed it can be. Want to take a lot of curb on the entry and use the curbing on the exit there. 4th gear, I like to short shift up to 5th and then into 6th on the exit. Try to avoid that curb. Again, it is very aggressive on this game, but not the end of the world if you hit it there. Get the car back over to the left-hand side, and again, you want to be aiming for either the 100-meter board or the black marker there. Again, I'm actually bringing the car all the way down into 2nd gear on entry, and then as you reach the apex, short shifting back up into 3rd there, allowing the car to run slightly wide, and then getting half throttle up to 4th, still trying to maintain a lot of throttle through there, and again, avoid that curb on the exit. It'll really unsettle the car there. Back through 5th, as we head in through turn 5 down, and you'll be going up to 6th on the exit. 7th gear as you head down this short little straight, but really you're just trying to set yourself up for the next corner. Again, braking at the black box. 5th gear on the way in. Try not to take too much curb on the exit. 6th gear once more off the corner, and then as you head out onto now what is a monstrous back straight, kind of, you actually want to be trying to make sure you're giving yourself the shortest run as well here. Open up the DRS as you head through the kink of turn 8, and then again trying to get the car over to the left hand side to give yourself the shortest run. Ready infamous turn 9 and turn 10. Get the car back over to the right. You want to be going down 2 gears just as you go under the black box. I'm trying to avoid the curbs through here. To be honest, they're just way too aggressive. Short shift on the way back up, and again try to avoid taking too much of that outside curb off the corner, otherwise you'll unsettle the rear and you'll probably find yourself in a barrier at one point or another. 8th gear again then as you're heading down in towards the final sector, braking just before the 50 metre ball, about 60 metres out. Again, I'm using 2nd gear on the entry, pretty much short shifting back to 3rd on the apex, trying to avoid that exit curve once more, and then you're going to be going 5th. I'm then trying to quite late shift under 6th through here. You will need a blend of throttle on the way through before you try and get the car back over to the right hand side. Braking just after you go under the gantry. 2nd gear, just try and get the car rotated. 3rd gear on the exit. 4th gear again, these final 2 corners you've really got to short shift through, and then 5th gear as you roll onto the throttle. Open up the DRS once more, cycle back up through the gears, and that is going to be a lap then of the Albert Park circuit inside F1 23. A very, very weird little track. It is so high speed and such a short lap now. But yeah, the precision required around here is absolutely essential there. F1 23's track limits seem to be a little bit strange as well in a couple of places. I've noticed at the start of Sector 2, you actually can only get 2 wheels over the white line. If you get those inside wheels anywhere near the white line, the lap will be invalidated anyway. But yeah, this track, more than a lot of others inside F1 23, is about having a good stable setup underneath you, making sure you can attack the curbs as well, because that is really how you find a lot of time. Attacking the entry curbs and avoiding the exit curbs is the key to Albert Park. There we go then, out of the final corner, a 1:17.376 here from Albert Park, Australia. Really, really happy with that lap time and finding it quite interesting as well. Of course, doing these hot laps that obviously I'm getting slowly but surely much quicker at the game and feel like I can get up to pace a whole lot earlier. You know, Bahrain, it took me over an hour to get that lap on the board, but of course now it's only taken us, about half an hour or so before I can get what I feel like is a good time. Of course, it's only so good showing you like a world record lap time when next to no one is going to be able to emulate that. I certainly think everything that I can do here with obviously enough practice, anyone is certainly capable of as well. But yeah, thank you all as always so much for watching these videos. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure to leave a like, get yourself subscribed. Of course, let me know how you get on with these setups as well. Like I said, obviously I'm running through every single track on the F1 23 calendar, but as I mentioned in the intro, Albert Park, yeah, one of my favourite tracks to hot lap around as well. The curbs can be a little bit scary in league racing. As I mentioned, obviously going through the setup, occasionally you might want to make a couple of tweaks in that regard. But yeah, thank you all so much once again, like I said, for watching. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure to leave a like, get yourself subscribed as well, and we'll be back very, very soon when Formula 1 returns to Baku. That is a tough track to get nailed.